What if we use the RTX 4060 to experience ray tracing in AAA games? Because why not? Let's find out. To test this out, we've paired the MSI Ventus 2X RTX 4060 with the Ryzen 5 7600X CPU as part of the Be Quiet PC build powered by MSI. If you're interested in any of the products featured in this video, you can find them at the links in the description below. There is no need to spend that much money on Windows 11 Pro when you can get it much cheaper at cdkeyoffer.com. Additionally, use discount code iVadim to get 25% off and bring the total price down to $22. Furthermore, you can find Windows 10 Pro as well as Microsoft Office at much cheaper prices as well. Get yours now at the link in the description below, and don't forget to use discount code iVadim to get 25% off. We'll start with Black Myth Wukong, which is one of the most graphically demanding games in 2024 so far. Let's start with native 1080p resolution, but then we'll drop the resolution upscaling DLSS quality to quality mode. I don't think we should go for anything lower than quality because it's just defeating the purpose. The overall image quality on DLSS balanced or even lower is just not that great at 1080p, so that is not worth it in my opinion. But we'll try to make it work with DLSS quality, and we'll adjust some settings as needed. But to get a good idea of how the RTX 4060 performs with ray tracing enabled, let's select the highest full ray tracing level, very high, and high graphics quality preset. And here is what we have, 20 plus FPS. Not great. Just for context, on high graphics quality preset with ray tracing disabled, this game runs at 50 to 60 FPS. Ray tracing definitely eats up a lot of resources and computational power, and the RTX 4060 doesn't actually have that many ray tracing cores. Let's see if we can get a playable experience with DLSS resolution upscaling set to quality mode. That's 67%. And we're getting 30 plus FPS, close to 40. But I don't think this is a great experience for this type of game, although at least you can kind of experience what ray tracing is all about. Have a look at those beautiful shadows as well as reflections. You can really appreciate the reflections when you come across something like this river here. It's really beautiful. We can make the overall presentation smoother by using frame generation. Let's give it a go. Oh wow, this is actually better than expected. Take a look at that. We're now getting 60-ish FPS. This is impressive. One thing left to check is the controls latency. Are the controls still responsive? Let's take a look. I can definitely feel a little bit of latency, but I can still dodge. Not every time, not perfectly, but I'm not a hardcore gamer to, be a master of Souls-like games. I'm definitely not. I think this feels okay. Obviously, the best experience is going to be getting at least 60 FPS base. That means without generated frames. At that frame rate, your controls will be very responsive. But if you want to experience ray tracing, then this is the way to go, in my opinion, because you can experience all the beautiful effects that ray tracing provides and still experience the game. Next up is Cyberpunk 2077, 1080p resolution. For the fun of it, let's try ray tracing overdrive mode, which means that path tracing will be enabled. And one thing that we'll have to do consistently throughout this test is lower the crowd density to medium, because the Ryzen 5 7600X is not powerful enough to drive high crowd density in this particular game. Also, I'll keep motion blur as well as depth of field as well as other effects just disabled, because I don't want any of this to get in the way of the beautiful picture. Frame generation stays off, and we'll use NVIDIA DLAA for now. Beautiful experience, pleasant gameplay, 17 to 19 FPS. Yes, this is what I want to see in this game. Yeah, obviously this is not going to be pleasant by any means or stretch of imagination. It's just not happening. Ray tracing overdrive is just too powerful for the RTX 4060 to handle. I don't think DLSS can help, but let's try. DLSS quality applied, and we're getting close to 30 FPS. It's not as bad as I expected. So you can kind of take a look at what ray tracing overdrive is all about. I think 30 FPS is enough for that to happen, but obviously this is not going to be a pleasant gaming experience. It's just for, checking out the visuals in a more static environment. To get a playable experience, we'll have to reduce that ray tracing quality to ultra. Let's give it a go. Let's enable NVIDIA DLSS quality right away, because there's just no way that we're going to get a playable experience without the help of resolution upscaling. And right now, we are experiencing well above 40 FPS. What I'm noticing is that the overall presentation is not as smooth. You can see that by the frame rate as well as frame time graphs. They're just getting choppy as we pan the camera. Let's see if we can get rid of that by locking the FPS. Let's lock the FPS at 45 and see what happens. Yeah, 45 is not enough, not in this particular area right here. I think we've ventured into a highly densely populated part of the map. So let's get back onto this street right here. And yeah, it's smoother. But then again, if you enter an area like that one there, you're not gonna have a good time, because check it out. We're just running around, everything is great, and then we enter this kind of area, and boom, stuttering drops to 30 plus FPS. Not nice. Maybe frame generation can help us improve this experience? Let's see. We're getting quite a lot of frames generated. 80 plus FPS, sometimes reaching 90. Not bad, not bad, but let's move to that market area where we had issues previously. Yeah, the frame rate is more consistent now, but we do see some of those spikes every now and then. That was a massive stutter. I could feel it with my eyes. Once again, one more right there. Yeah, I don't think this is right. Hold on. Let's see if that will change if we decrease the crowd density further. Let's set it to low now. I have a suspicion that the 6-core CPU is simply not enough to drive high number of NPCs as well as ray tracing in this game. We're back in this area. Yeah, those stutters persist, so we are going to have to live with that if we want to experience ray tracing in this game. But in other areas, as you can see right here, for example, the experience is not as smooth as it turns out. Yeah, something is definitely not right. That's what you get when you use medium to low range PCs to play games using settings that are way too high for the hardware to handle. Mostly I'm running around and the gameplay is smooth. I'll call this a win. If I were playing this game, this is the ray tracing settings that I would use. Ray tracing ultra, crowd density either on medium or low, and DLSS resolution upscaling set to quality, frame generation enabled. Look at that, 100 FPS. That's crazy. Would you play this game like this? Let me know in the comments. We'll finish up this episode with Alan Wake 2, which recently received an update. The game developers added DLSS 3.5 as well as ray reconstruction. We are at 1080p native resolution, high graphics quality preset, and the highest ray tracing preset enabled. Indoors, the experience is less than ideal, 26 to 27 FPS, and outdoors, well, sometimes we reach above 30, and you can really appreciate the graphics and ray tracing effects that the preset provides. Yeah, looking at the lake, it's beautiful. I can see all the reflections properly, the boat, the bridge, well, not bridge, the pier. Yeah, everything looks great. But this is not the kind of performance that I would have liked to see if I'm playing this game. It's just not pleasant. Let's not forget that this is not even the most demanding area in the game. If we move to the forest, the performance will be cut in half, so there'll be like 15 FPS there, which means that we have to make some adjustments. Let's use DLSS, set it to quality. This delivers a slightly better experience with 40 plus FPS indoors. In some areas the FPS indoors will drop below 40, and outdoors 44 to 50 even sometimes, but mostly. Let's see if we even approach some trees, how bad the FPS will drop. Yeah, 28 FPS just by being next to the trees. Let's see if we can improve this experience by introducing frame generation. Well, it certainly is possible to get above 60 FPS by using frame generation, and you can kind of walk around and appreciate the beauty of ray tracing effects. The gameplay is pretty stable. And surprisingly, even the controls latency is not too bad. I mean, hold on, let me just move to another location. Let's go to the forest and check out like the worst case scenario. This is what I'm talking about. 38, 37 FPS. And here I can definitely feel the sluggishness of the controls. The mouse is just not responsive. It feels like it's jelly. Peanut butter jelly time. Yeah. This right here is not a pleasant experience. If I had to shoot some enemies right here, I would struggle to aim. But that forest is not going to be where you'll spend the entirety of the game. If you're going to experience the rest of the game, then I think this graphics configuration is okay. I mean, it's pretty pleasant to use. Obviously, using resolution upscaling at 1080p is not great in some places, because, yeah, upscaling from 720p to 1080p just doesn't yield great results. Nothing like using DLSS resolution upscaling on a 1440p or even better, a 4K monitor. There you can not tell the difference between DLSS quality and native, but here I definitely can. With that said, if you're using a smaller screen, something like 24 inches, I think you'll be okay. But then again, because DLSS doesn't have that much information to work with, we are seeing some visual imperfections every now and then, like when I move around here. There's a lot of shimmering happening on that NPC right there, on the edges of her hair, as well as sunglasses. Yeah, there's just all sorts of problems going on. And that is happening even while I'm just walking past this NPC. There's just a ghosting trail of lost information. Not great if you have a keen eye for details, because you'll definitely notice that, and that will break your immersion. Well, the RTX 4060 actually surprised me. It was possible to experience the games with the ray tracing enabled. Yeah, not without the help of DLSS, of course, but it was possible. Obviously, not every game was running perfectly. For example, we had some issues with Cyberpunk 2077. The experience wasn't as smooth as I would have liked, but that was only in some areas of the game. Overall, the 4060 still allows you to experience ray tracing and see what it's all about. Let me know in the comments what do you think about this setup. And if you are interested in any of the products, as well as the full PC parts list for this build, you can find them on Amazon at the links in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, then reward my work with a like and subscribe for more if you haven't already. It was iVadim. Until next time.